testable in 1995.
What was the evidence?
It was sperm from a rape. And it was being sent out here to California to Dr. Edward Blake. And it broke open in transport and spilled. So Jackie left me. I had nothing left. And then they put me in a special unit. And it started torturing me. I keep this part quiet. I never told the story. It would ruin what happened in Fear of 13 that's now out on Netflix. But they finally closed down the old prison I was in for 12 years, where the average rate of survival was only 5. And I was one of the hardest dudes there, and I made it. They closed the prison down, and they opened up Greene County Supermax. And the courts ordered that every prisoner in Pennsylvania be allowed out of their cell for 8 hours. The administration looked at each other and said, fuck that, not the crazy cannibals and not the serial killers, not the dudes that have been assaulting and raping each other. So they picked 48 of us out and they put us in Pittsburgh in a special penitentiary setting in which we were in a sealed unit. And they put all these guards in there that weren't allowed to touch other prisoners because they were so violent, and told them, we're giving you the craziest of the crazy. You know Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lamb was a real man, right? His name was Gary Heidnick. He abducted black women in Philadelphia and put them in a pit under his house and fed one of them to the other survivors because he was building a master race. He was my neighbor, man. So they started torturing us and doing all this psychological crazy shit to us where they were feeding us to each other like wolves. So I kept it all quiet until this year when, once again, misfortune fell in my life and I released Monsters and Madmen, the new book that I was going to give you today. And I thought, I got to tell that story, But it's been so hard to come back from these moments, Joe. It's just like I look at what they did to me and how I went to that moment where the DNA is gone. Jackie leaves me. And so I find out I'm dying from hepatitis C that they did when they infected me of it when they broke my teeth, when they beat me. So I asked to be executed. I said, I studied all the world's religions. I read over 9,000 books. I did everything in piety my mother asked me to do while I was in prison. I don't want to die like Dale Carter did, with the guards coming to his cell and taunting him, teasing him, and listen to a man scream in agony because the bile in his belly is killing him. So I wrote to the courts and I asked to be executed. I said, fuck it, man. I want to die as a man I love, who can respect himself. The court intervened and ordered the DNA testing that was going to be done on the evidence expelled. In July of 2003, the DNA test come back and they proved me innocent.
So the evidence spilled and they just captured it once it spilled?
It was in a box with all this evidence, and Dr. Edward Blake, who did the O.J. Simpson trial DNA, said that there would be challenges to it if he did the DNA in 1999, 1998. In 2003, they had advanced mitochondrial DNA separation so well that he felt confident in his results. So the federal court got involved and said, look, I don't want to have this man executed. I want the DNA done. So they did that. And it was amazing that on the day that I called the lawyers, they revealed the truth to me. I called this lawyer and I'm like, what's up? He goes, Nick, we got DNA from 3 separate sources that prove you innocent. And I said, that's amazing, Mike. I'm really grateful. He goes, we used to tell people you're crazy, that we never believed in you. I'm really sorry for that. I'm like, man, really? You want to take away my joy now, man? So I was really downcast that the day I called my mother. My brother Mikey was having a seizure at her feet because he was an alcoholic after he fell off a roof, and he died shortly after, so it just went fucking crazy from there. They take me off death row and they put me in a psychological cell and they tell me they can't trust me. That no human being who has had done to them what we've done to you cannot be angry. That if we open this door up and we let you out, you're going to get us. So we're going to leave you until the day they let you out. We're going to leave you in this cell because we don't trust you not to kill us for what we did to you.
What did they do to you?
They used to have a thing called Gladiator Day. So the lieutenant would be off on a Sunday, and the guards who started to come from the Philadelphia area were black, and they didn't like the guards up in the hillbillies beating on black prisoners. So a weird thing happened where this lieutenant came up with an idea, well, look, let's let the prisoners get this frustration out of you guys by you pick out the biggest guy and you pick out this guy. So one day I'm sitting there minding my own business, and they open up my cell, and there's 4 of them with clubs. You're up. So I got to go in the cage, and I got to go and hurt somebody while they stand outside. And if you don't fight, they're going to come in, and they're going to beat you worse than you can beat a man or get beaten by one man.
So they did all this for their entertainment. Were they ever punished for this?
Not until after the riot, when one of them testified against the others for the murder and stuff. I watched 11 people commit suicide. I've been stabbed, strangled, beaten senseless. The guards used to taunt me because I was accused of a psychological murder, of going out and stalking this poor woman because she looked like my girlfriend, they said. So I was never treated like a prisoner. I was treated with deference, the worst word I know in the English dictionary. The way I was treated was so harsh that it was cruel beyond cruel. And yet, all I wanted to do was have enough within me to learn to beautifully speak so that on the day that they executed me, I could tell them how much I cared about myself. That was more important to me than living, because somehow when you suffer like I have suffered, your head cracks open and you have a hypersensitivity to life, so that when you touch other human beings, you never forget the 14 years no one was allowed to touch you. You know what? Fuck this. I ain't crying no more.
It's all right, man. There's nothing wrong with crying.
No, I
Dude,
just
listen,
thought about it.